Hello my darlings, I hope you're all doing very well. In today's video I am doing a Tattoo Enthusiast Reacts to I regret my tattoos because of TikTok. Now this come up on my Twitter feed. I follow the person that made this video, Snitchery. She is freaking gorgeous. A little bit of a crush on her. She's stunning, okay? I love her tattoos. I just like who she is as a person kind of thing, you know? But yeah, I follow her on Twitter and it come up and I was like, oh, this is interesting. I wonder what this is about. And I haven't watched it and I thought maybe this would be a good video to react to and discuss whatever she may be saying in this video. I don't know, again, not watched it, but I was just like, how has TikTok made you regret your tattoos? Like, what did TikTok do? I mean, we all know how problematic the tattoo side of TikTok can be, or just, you know, TikTok in general, you know, like it does have a bad side to it. It has a good side, but there's definitely a bad side as well. Okay, so are we ready? Are we sitting comfortably? Are we cozy? Yes? Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about me and my body and TikTok, so like literally what's new. And more specifically, tattoos. Why TikTok or how TikTok made me somebody who is covered in tattoos, somebody who literally was an inked magazine, that's myself in my article, made me regret them. But first,
wow. Okay. So like, to me, regret is a huge statement, okay? Like I have had tattoos that I don't like or haven't liked because they were just badly done and then I've had a cover up or a rework. But I've never regretted a tattoo because I feel like regret is such a strong word in my opinion. You know, regret is just like, I loathe this thing. And I'm just like, what? Because like Snitchery's tattoos are gorgeous, but I'm intrigued to see why.
I only have them on the upper half of my body, but I do have quite a few yaddies.
Okay, so I wasn't aware that Snitchery isn't like covered in tattoos. Like I haven't, like I know what she looks like, but I can't say I've ever like inspected her body for tattoos. Like the only one I kind of know of is like the sleeve one that she has, which is stunning. It's so beautifully done. I kind of assumed that she was covered on her back and on her legs as well, but I guess she just said that it's only the top half. So okay, that's interesting.
For women especially, I am like very heavily tatted.
I don't want to invalidate her feelings in any way, shape or form. I personally wouldn't say she was heavily tattooed, like in comparison to me or whatever, you know, like I'm like nearly every body part is tattooed. I still struggle saying that I'm heavily tattooed because in comparison to some other people, I'm not that heavily tattooed and I have my hands, neck, the majority of my back, the majority of my legs and arms. I have, you know, some big gaps here and there, but I'm definitely more tattooed than Snitchery. It's not a competition, of course, but I would say in like the tattoo world, Snitchery isn't like classed as heavily tattooed, but she's saying for a woman, she's heavily tattooed, which I understand.
Talked about my tattoo story, my tattoo journey, about how I always wanted tattoos but didn't want to be this tattooed, and then I had to get a big cover up for a big messed up tattoo. Long story short, I am now perceived as a very heavily tattooed person.
Again, like I just said, to me, no. I mean, she does have her hand tattooed, so that is, you know, visibly tattooed, but I still wouldn't say heavily. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this. What would you consider heavily tattooed?
Oftentimes the first thing that people notice about me definitely has changed the way that I've been treated in public, in my dating life, in the friends I make, my social circles.
I totally understand that. It is literally the first thing people notice about you when you are tattooed or visibly tattooed, especially like I said, she has her hand tattooed, so you know that's something people notice straight away. It's the first thing people comment on for me anyway. It's just like, wow, you have a lot of tattoos, and I'm like, wow, thank you so much, genius over here. Like I've always said this throughout videos, there is more to people than their tattoos. Just because I have tattoos or just because Snitchery has tattoos doesn't mean anything. It isn't our personality in any way, shape or form. It's our interests maybe, especially for me. Like my whole job is making content about tattoos. Like it's a huge interest and passion for me, but it's not my whole personality, you know? Like I get people are curious and all of that, but there's more to us than this, you know? I mean, don't get it wrong, I could talk about tattoos all day long, but like there's more to me than that, you know? But yeah, I'm probably older than Snitchery. I don't know her age at all. But I'm 33 and like I don't really go around making new friends. I mean, I don't leave the house, so and the whole dating thing. Oh, I mean, I've been in a relationship now for 3 years, but there was a time in like 2019 when I was single and I did the whole dating app situation. Just everyone commented about the tattoos. Like, no one was interested in me. They're all about, oh, so you have a lot of tattoos. Where else are you tattooed? Asking suggestive questions like that. It's exhausting.
I'm 26. I got my first
she's
tattoo when I
26,
was 16.
okay.
And I'm so used to them, especially because I haven't gotten a new tattoo since pre-COVID. So to
Oh, wow. Okay. So she hasn't been tattooed in, say, what? How long ago was COVID now? Like three-ish years, right? And she's 26, so yeah, she is younger than me. So that's, oh my god, I'm 7 years older than her. Damn. But yeah, she's been getting tattooed for a while. From my quick math, it's 10 years. So that's a long time to be getting tattooed. And I like what she said about her being so used to them, which is so true because, like, you forget that they're there. I know that it sounds so silly, but I'm sure if you're tattooed or heavily tattooed, you know that they become a part of you. You never notice them. It's not like, oh my god, all the time. The only way I can compare it to anyone that isn't tattooed is, you know, you don't always notice your freckles or moles, birthmarks or whatever. They just become a part of you. It's the same for tattoos.
So to me, they're very much a part of my body, but I recognize in my day-to-day interactions and meeting new people, even in the comments that I get on like TikTok and stuff, that they kind of are my defining physical trait.
Yeah, 100%. Like I was saying, people will notice your tattoos before they even notice your face. Especially Snitchery, like her arm tattoo there. Oh, like I was saying, it's gorgeous, but that is so eye-catching. It's bold. It's beautiful. Your eyes are instantly drawn to that. Even though she has like pink hair. Back in my day, I remember when I dyed my hair pink for the first time, I was 18 and I wasn't, you know, visibly tattooed or anything. I had tattoos, but I wasn't, you know, looking like this. And people would instantly comment about my pink hair. But if you look kind of like brown hair, no makeup, how do I explain this without being horrible? Like plain Jane, I guess. That's when the conversation is never about what you look like, it's about who you are. And it can be kind of exhausting. It's just like, please, can we just stop talking about what I look like and talk about other things, you know?
There have definitely been moments in the past where I've regretted them to like a point, and that feeling has never been more palpable for me.
Oh my gosh. You don't really hear someone that's tattooed like Snitchery is say this. You normally hear people that have like 1 or 2 tattoos say, oh, I regret my tattoos. Maybe because it's so foreign to me, because again, I've never regretted my tattoos ever. I once did a video where I covered my tattoos in makeup, and I'm not joking, it made me feel ill. I felt unwell because of it, because I could not recognise myself. It honestly messed me up for a couple of days. I was anxious for a couple of days after. I do have depression and anxiety, but it made me just feel so weird to not have them. I hated it. I did not like it at all. Ugh, just even thinking about that. Ugh.
I cannot escape, and I think it's most women in some capacity, the rapid fire Sonic the Hedgehog pace speed with which aesthetics and like these cores go in and out of fashion. I don't know if this developed first on like Pinterest. All of a sudden, I noticed maybe last year, it became really popular to sort of categorize yourself and your fashion and even like your life choices and behavior and your mannerisms on like a certain core.
Okay, I understand what they're saying. I might be a little bit too old for this. I know what she's saying, because you have like cottagecore. I don't know what else. That's the only one I know, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a cool kid. But I can understand what she's saying from a tattoo trend side of things, where, you know, when I was back in the day, when I was 18, so like 2008, and I would use Tumblr quite a lot, traditional tattoos were like the in thing. Everybody was getting traditional tattoos, which obviously traditional tattoos are still very much a thing, and they always will be, because it's one of the older styles of tattoos. That was the popular thing back then. And then all of a sudden it was all, you know, sort of black work, ornamental mandalas, stuff like that. And now we've kind of moved on into the very fine detail, intricate tattoos. And in my opinion, tattoos are not a trend themselves, but within tattoos there is a trend. But the whole categorizing your life choices and who you are as a person, I guess labeling yourself is the best way to put it, in the way I understand. Again, I understand that because you see people on social media and they'll have a certain aesthetic that they stick to, and it's like their whole brand or their whole identity. Snitchery is feeling the pressure of that, maybe. Like, you feel like you have to be a certain person to maybe make it on social media, to have something that someone can relate to or inspire to be or whatever. For me personally, I've never been like that. I've never had a certain aesthetic style. I've never identified as a certain person, you know, like the emos, the goths, the what else is there from back in my day? But yeah, I've never personally felt the pressure to do that, but obviously people do, and that's understandable.
It could be something like fairy core, mermaid core, dark academia, or even I would consider something like clean girl a core.
Yes, okay, I'm so glad she has just listed some of the cores, because like I have heard of the fairy one and the clean girl situation. There's always people on my TikTok, on my For You page, doing like the clean girl aesthetic where their hair's like slicked back into a bun, minimal makeup, but it's like gorgeous. And oh my gosh, I mean, I could never. I cannot pull off like that minimalistic look. I can't actually do minimal makeup. Like, I try, and then like the eyeliner just happens and it just becomes like a whole hot mess.
Cottagecore is like these really like beautiful, effeminate, prairie, homely, like vintage style. And I thought it was so cute. Went out and I like thrifted a bunch of stuff, and I get back home and I tried everything on, and I basically looked like this. This dress is kind of accurate to the stuff I bought then, and I was so disappointed, bro, because look at me. Like, actually, like, do I look like I belong on a prairie?
Oh, that makes me really, really sad. Oh, no, 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 no. I feel genuinely really sad for her because, I mean, she's just freaking gorgeous. Like, she's like one of those people that could literally wear anything and I'd be like, wow, you're so beautiful. I think I can understand what she's getting at here. I feel like she's saying to fit into a certain style or whatever. For example, the cottagecore, you have to be very muted. With her tattoos, they are quite bold and heavy. So that's kind of the opposite of this cottagecore. So I feel like she's saying that she just felt like she couldn't belong to a style that she wants to belong to because it just, in her opinion, wasn't working. And that makes me feel sad.
I could do the scars and the hair. Nothing mattered because of my tattoos. Unless my tattoos were covered, I was never going to get cottagecore.
Oh, that makes me so sad. There is so much pressure when it comes to social media. Like, you have to look a certain way, do a certain thing to fit in. And if you don't, you get mocked. And I see it all the freaking time on social media. Mainly, this isn't relevant, but you know, like, people post videos of them like lip syncing to something and they're all being like, oh yeah, you can buy me flowers, and it's all whatever. And you see, like, I guess a pretty girl doing it and they're stunning and they're gorgeous and everyone's like, wow, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful, and the comments are so positive and all of that. And then you'll see someone that's maybe alternative or doesn't fit in a box of beauty to everyone else, and they're doing the same exact thing and the comments are horrible, they're disgusting, they're vile. I see comments literally say, I think we should bring back bullying. And I'm like, what the frick? This person is just enjoying their life lip syncing on TikTok like everybody else, but because they're not your standard of beauty, you're gonna just be mean about it. Just let people fucking have fun. It's just exhausting to see the treatment of people on social media sometimes. It really is.
The vast majority of the aesthetics that I do enjoy and the typical ways I like to dress, I feel like my tattoos really enhance them. Just because I couldn't make this work, like, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm so glad that she recognised that. I mean, I think she could make anything work, like I was saying. Like, she could dress however the hell she wants. If people think she shouldn't categorise herself as something, that's a them problem, in my opinion. Like, shut up, go away, get a life, go touch some grass.
And I started going to like way more events, fancy spaces, right? And I found that not only did I not really like how I looked in the dresses, but I also felt a little bit uncomfortable at the events.
Oh, that makes me sad as well. But I will say this, I myself do not like wearing dresses for many reasons. One, I find them uncomfortable. I'm much more of a like suit kind of person. I prefer to wear trousers and a blouse or something like that. I just have never felt comfortable in a dress, to be honest. I've tried, you know, I've gone to weddings and I've worn a dress because I feel like I had to. And I just don't feel comfortable in a dress. And one, I feel like my body shape just isn't it in a dress. Like, I'm sure I could find a dress to fit my body, but I'm honestly in no mood to figure that out, to be honest with you. And another thing is, I feel like if I was to wear a dress, or I'm not sure if Snitchery is wearing a dress or a top here, but she's wearing like a very thin strapped top situation. I hate wearing stuff like that. Mainly because I'm kind of insecure about this upper part of my body. I feel like I've got quite wide shoulders. And also, so many tattoos on show. It's just a lot. And I always feel like, not today. Like, I just don't want to be showing it off. I want to hide it. So I can relate on that part. And again, it's not because I regret my tattoos or I hate my tattoos. I just feel like it's a lot sometimes. You know, especially with my neck as well. You're like, it's a lot. So I like to wear, like, regular t-shirt situations, you know, just to hide this bit, you know. And I also feel very uncomfortable in posh situations or events like that. I mean, I can't say I've, you know, been to many ever, but I always feel like I'm being judged because I'm heavily tattooed, because there is such a stigma with, you know, being heavily tattooed from many years ago. You know, heavily tattooed people are criminals. I always feel like people are judging me and think, oh, look at that criminal. You know, like, I have this problem of projecting niceness and kindness out in the world. So, like, if I'm shopping or whatever, and I mean, I worked in retail as well, so another factor why I'm so nice to retail workers and what have you. But anytime, like, I get served by, like, an older person, I feel like, oh God, they're going to judge me because I'm so tattooed. They might think I'm going to mug them. Like, like, I overthink this stuff so much, so I understand what she's saying, but I always feel like people are judging me and, you know, who I might be as a person just because I have tattoos. So I'm always like, thank you so much, or have a great day, you know, like, I'm a nice tattooed person, don't come for me please, like, I'm soft. But as tattoos are becoming more and more mainstream and more acceptable, I really feel like the stigma of them is slowly declining, thankfully.
But for some reason, being in a formal dress, I just felt so awkward in these moments. Or even like a wedding. I went to a wedding and I just felt so uncomfortable, even though I was in a very similar dress to all these other like fancy women. I just am so aware that I look so different.
Yes, I understand that. You do become incredibly aware when you are like one of the most visibly tattooed people in a situation. So like a wedding, I'm always the most tattooed person there, and I'm like, ugh, people are staring at me, aren't they? Like, you just become very hyper aware. And I think normally because the first thing people will comment on when you're in these situations are your tattoos, and no one else is getting that treatment. You know, you're just like, why me? But obviously you're the one with the tattoos, so I get it. But
and a bunch of my formal style icons are people like David Beckham. He is covered in tattoos and he often looks super formal, super presentable, super respectable. But again, he's a man. You see it more like masculine pop culture figures.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. This is such a good point. It feels like it is acceptable to be a man and heavily tattooed because you see it more, especially within like famous land, you know, celebrities and all of that. Like, think about it, how many heavily tattooed women are famous? And I've also noticed as well, when on Facebook, I always have these freaking articles from freaking God knows what, Daily Mail, The Sun as sponsored. I obviously do not follow them, but they just pop up in my goddamn feed or whatever, or someone I'm friends with has commented on it or whatever, and it'll be like a article about someone with tattoos that's a man. You'll read through the comments and it's never negative, like, oh, I bet their parents are disappointed in them or whatever. But then if it's an article about a woman with a tattoo, oh my God, everybody has a goddamn opinion about what she should do with her body. Sorry for holding this, hang on 2 seconds. There is such a contrast.
And I feel like if TikTok wasn't constantly throwing these cores at me, it wouldn't be something that I noticed as much.
Okay, fair enough. Like I just said, I have noticed it in other places. I can't say I've noticed it on TikTok, but my For You page is very specific. It's stuff like dogs, animals, cute videos like that. And then maybe the odd makeup video. I seem to have got onto hairdresser TikTok at the minute, I don't know why, like watching consultations and hair transformations, I'm all about that at the minute. But I guess if you're like on the fashion side of TikTok or whatever, or you know, the cottagecore side of TikTok, you're gonna notice it more. It depends how your For You page is tailored, because everyone's For You page is literally tailored to people's interests or whatever, and what you watch and interact with.
The popular grunge girls of like the early 2000s, they are all so freaking thin, and it doesn't mean you can't freaking slay regardless of what you look like, but what's going to be pushed to you is going to look unattainable.
Okay, that is a very, very good point, because like I was saying before, you'll see someone, you know, do something on TikTok that is beautiful by beauty standards, and then you'll see someone else do it that maybe isn't to everyone else, and they're basically making the same content or the same outfit or the same makeup looks, and the beautiful person by beauty standards is getting so much praise and like, oh wow, like you're so iconic. But then you get someone that's maybe plus size, a person of colour, doing the exact same thing, trying the same sort of grunge look or whatever, and the comments are so different. It's stuff like, you should be doing this, don't be wearing this, you look ugly, that outfit doesn't fit you right, that isn't your aesthetic. And it's just like, oh my god, really? Just let people dress how they want, you know, it's not that deep.
Grunge, it's a style. It shouldn't be predicated on a body type or a lack of tattoos or a certain hair texture.
100%. So for the majority of my life, people always thought I was very much into heavy metal, rock music, because of the way I looked. I kind of had that grunge, gothic, emo look because of my tattoos, and if I had dyed my hair black or a vivid colour or whatever. But I honestly didn't get into like the emo scene, the heavy metal scene. I mean, I liked some of it throughout my years, but not as much as I do now, because I met my boyfriend Tom, who was very emo. Like, he wakes up and he's like singing My Chemical Romance, right? But yeah, I got into like heavy metal, screamo or whatever because my boyfriend Tom, because he listens to it all the time, and I've been like, oh, I actually quite like this song, or I like this band, and then I got into it. But before that, I could easily get away with saying, yes, I listen to rock and heavy metal and all of that because of the way I looked, and people would be like, oh yeah, that makes sense because you look like the type of person, the stereotype. But I didn't. Like, for the whole of my life, I've listened to EDM and hip-hop. Like, my favourite artists are like Kendrick Lamar, Tyler the Creator, and then in the EDM side, like Jamie XX, Bonobo, Flume, Apache. I'm probably speaking foreign language to a lot of people, but anyway. And then when I would tell people that, they'd be like, no, that's a lie, no way. And then they'd question my authenticity about how I like these people, and they'd ask, you know, like for album names and all of that. It's like when people wear band t-shirts and the person that's wearing the band t-shirt doesn't look like they would listen to that band, so they get questioned, like, what's your favourite song, what's your favourite album, who are the band members, just because maybe they don't have enough tattoos or whatever, or they have like normal hair colours, they don't look grunge. Like, if you don't perfectly fit in the mould of a certain style, you're like a fraud.
When an aesthetic becomes popular, say it's like the clean girl aesthetic, we're not gonna see this like diversity in what I just mentioned, body types, ethnicities, etc., etc. We're gonna see like the skinny white blonde girl.
Absolutely. If you are not that type of person, and don't get it twisted, there's nothing wrong with being skinny blonde or whatever. Like, I was once upon a time a skinny blonde girl. But like I was saying before, I'm repeating myself, that you'll see one person that fits the ideal clean girl aesthetic, and you'll see someone else doing it, but because they don't have the, you know, the right skin colour or the right hair texture, then they are ridiculed for trying this trend or trying to do an aesthetic that they like. It's really sad.
I hate when people would tell me I'd regret my tattoos when I got older. I literally used to be like, man. And I do think I'll just like circle back around when I'm like 50 and love them again and be so happy I had them and like got them on young skin. So this is not to say that you shouldn't get tattooed when you're young, but stylistically, these are very hard, badass tattoos, which reflected me perfectly when I was like 21. That's who I was when I was 18 to 22. Hard and bold, and I knew exactly who I was, I thought. And now that I'm 26, I'm like, I actually know nothing, and I wish I had a little bit more real estate to do something.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, the majority of people's style does change. I mean, I think the only thing that's changed for me over the years is my makeup, but then it really hasn't. I've always been, well, I have experimented with colour makeup and all of that, but for my style, I've always had the same kind of style. I don't think I've ever branched out drastically, but of course everyone is different. You know, Snitchery likes to experiment with styles and different fashions. I know she's like a cosplayer as well, so she's very much into all of that kind of thing. What I want to add on is I understand her warning to say, you know, there is a chance that you'll get this tattoo when you're younger, but then you might change as you get older, which is true, that happens. But there is also people like me who have not really changed that much. I mean, yeah, I changed my hair colours, whatever, right? But never really changed my aesthetic or whatever. So while, yes, it could be a risk of getting tattooed young because you might change, there's also a possibility that you might not change. Yeah, the tattoos that I got when I was younger, some of them I have had covered up just because they were so bad. Not because I essentially like regretted them or regretted having the tattoos or having that placement tattooed. I just knew I could have better.
Be a little bit more cohesive. If my body was completely blank, I don't know if I would have gotten anything this big and bold. It's really, it's hard to tell. I'm a person that likes change. I'm constantly changing my hair, and I'm a person that gets bored easily. So there is like a mild sense of frustration.
Okay, I totally understand that. As someone that changes their hair a lot, yeah. I completely understand that. And it's super interesting to hear her say, you know, if I could start again, I don't know if I would get the tattoos I would get now. I get asked that quite a lot, and I would simply want all of my tattoos back. If someone took them away from me, I would be like, please, can I have that back? Because for me, my tattoos tell my story, my journey, even the terrible ones. They're a reminder of, you know, my choices when I was younger before I knew any better, and then compare it to the newer tattoos that I've had done by amazing artists. I like seeing the comparison. I like to see the journey. But I think Snitchery is just saying that, you know, I don't know if I would do this again. I think she's like, this just doesn't fit my aesthetic for now, but then she might, like she said, when she's older, she might like them again. So, you know, like it might come back around. It's a shame that, you know, tattoos are like the way they are. It's a shame that you just cannot, like, you know, take them off if you're feeling like you don't want them for a day or whatever. I mean, you can go down the makeup route, of course, but that's time, that's money, it's effort, it's messy. And yeah, for me, it was hell.
And that I'm stuck with this aesthetic and this style. I kind of see it as like, well, you're also stuck with your face. You know what I mean? Like, this is just like a part of me now. This is just what I look like. But it's a little bit of a harder pill to swallow when your body doesn't match an outfit you're trying to wear, and you realize that your body doesn't work for that outfit because of a choice that you made.
I get it. I love how she said that you're stuck with your face as well. Yeah, I wouldn't change my tattoos, but if I had the chance, I would change my face. But she said this is a part of me now. And I think that she needs to maybe, I don't want to give her life advice. I'm in no position to give anyone life advice. But I think what would help her a lot is, you know, just embracing these tattoos, because like I said, she could literally wear anything. And maybe it is because I very much prefer looking at tattooed people. I don't know, I just find them so dang interesting. It's like the whole wedding dress debate. There's a lot of people that will say, oh, tattooed brides look ugly as hell, or tattoos really ruin a wedding dress, or that whole popular phrase of what about on your wedding day with all of these tattoos, right? And I personally would much rather look at tattooed brides. It's all personal taste, right?
I wanted tattoos from when I was young. I just kind of felt like, man, I'm really committing to my niche. That's really like who I am. That's what I love. And it wasn't until TikTok that I just got this like hunger and feverishness to try everything.
And I still fully believe that she can try everything. I totally understand what she's saying and how she feels, but she has this opportunity to break that mold. She has the opportunity to use her voice, like she's doing right now, of course, to, you know, push her way into cottagecore in her gorgeous outfits and be like, well, yeah, I have tattoos, but that doesn't mean I cannot dress like this and say I am cottagecore. You know, like I understand that she feels maybe like this or this is taking away from the softness of a style, but tattoos become a part of who you are, and that shouldn't hinder you from living the life that you want to.
Go around and recreate yourself every single day. And if you're consuming TikTok, you're gonna want to. But now, rather than being really happy I found my style, I'm like, oh my God, wait, what if there's a better style? And a lot of those styles aren't working because they're not really me. I got these tattoos in this style because this is me. I am like a little bit of a harder, more masculine person.
Yes, own it. Oh my gosh, yes, own it. The tattoos are you. You chose them for a reason. They're there for a reason. And I believe they suit her so dang well.
This directly leads to overconsumption. I think this is 100% both a result of and contributing to the massively quickened trend cycle. The fact that like things are popular for a month or two and everybody buys them online for $5 on Shein and then they throw them away.
Yeah, I mean, that in itself is a whole ass problem. And I feel like we would be here for hours if we got into all of that. We live in such a consumerism world where we have to have everything right here, right now. And, you know, if you see something blow up online that's popular, you feel like, oh, to be cool, I need to have that. I mean, I've personally never felt like that. Again, I stick to my outfits. I shop on ASOS. And if I see something I like, I buy it. You know, I mainly wear like Vans and, you know, I feel like my style is leaning more onto like the skater style because that's what I feel comfortable in. Like I mainly wear stuff from Vans, I won't lie, or you know, I wear a lot of tattoo inspired t-shirts. I have done for years. And you know, every now and then I'll wear a blouse or something fancy. But yeah, like, I've never personally felt the pressure of that, but I can understand people that do. There's one trend that sticks out in mind, and that is like the Kim K fashion trend. That's what I like to call it, where it's like matching coordinates. So you wear a pair of beige leggings and a beige top. I've seen so many people jump to that trend. And I'm just like, no, I'm just gonna stay here in my Vans. Not that there's anything wrong with that if you want to experiment and all of that, but I see people sort of cave to the pressure of social media and how you should dress.
You know, to keep people on the app, TikTok is showing popular videos to everybody. So if you click on somebody's popular video that has 100,000 views, chances are you go to their page and every other video of theirs has 300. So you're not seeing people when they're normal and they're just doing normal things. You're seeing people at their most banging thirst trap when their makeup is like its absolute best, and it just leaves you with this feeling of like really needing to become more of an individual, needing to be more interesting, but also needing to like follow trends because you're seeing all these cool people do all these interesting individual things.
100%. And with TikTok as well, there's always like a trend that blows up and then everyone does it, right? I mean, I've definitely been suckered into that a few times. I won't lie. Mainly because I'm like, oh, that looks fun. I want to try that. Or I want to use this sound that is trending on TikTok. You know, like we all get sucked into it. And you get this false high with TikTok. Because you'll have one random video blow up, right? And you get this high of like, I've got all these likes, I've got all of these comments, I've got all of these views. And then you start chasing it, okay? And you'll do anything to attain that again. It's a whole ass rat race. It can be pretty toxic if you fall into that trap.
TikTok's not going anywhere. Social media is not going anywhere. The way I regulate it is just like taking breaks off social media and dressing for myself and recognizing I can think something is really cool online or someone's outfit is really cool without necessarily liking it for myself. Just accepting in the same way that some things look good for my body shape, some things look good for my body tattoo wise. It's so exhausting.
It really, really is. It is. I've seen trends come and go, and fashions come and go, and tattoo trends come and go throughout the years that I've been making content. So I started making YouTube content in 2015, but I didn't really take it seriously until 2018. And personally, I've taken breaks here and there, not because I've been exhausted with social media. It's been for like personal reasons. Like back in 2019 I had like a month or so off, I think, because I went through a breakup and I was not in a good place. And then, you know, I'll take the odd week off here and there just because I'm like, ugh, you know, like people do need time off, of course, like with any job, you know, you need some time to rest and, you know, just shut yourself away from it. And it's good to do that, especially if you're feeling the pressures of social media. And I'm glad that Snitchery, you know, recognises what's happening and how it affects her, and she's taken time to look after herself and take a step back. And I cannot recommend that highly enough. If you feel like social media is getting too much for you and the pressure of it all, and you feel like you have to fit in, and you know, you're starting to change yourself because of social media, not because you want to, but you're doing it because you want to fit in, that's where it gets incredibly toxic. And I will always preach and celebrate people who are who they are, and they're doing things because they want to, not because they feel they have to. Because I did that in high school. I spent the majority of my teen years trying to fit in and be like everyone else, and it is exhausting. I cannot. Oh my god, like I would pretend to like certain types of music. So I'd be like, oh yeah, you know, I really like this like R&B track, and yeah, it's great. But when I'd get home, I'd be listening to some freaking happy hardcore crap. You know, like I was exhausted trying to be someone that I wasn't. But you know, once I sort of left school, I just stopped giving a crap, to be honest with you. I was just like, what am I doing? You know, and I think from the age of like 18, 19, that's when I was like, oh, fuck it, I'm not in school anymore, I don't care. Like, I'll be whoever I want to be. Like, yes, I look like this, like an emo kid, but I'm listening to freaking rave music. I didn't fit any kind of mold, and I've never felt like I have, and that's why I just don't try. I can't be asked to try and fit a mold. And if you're the same, that's okay. Be who you want to be.
Maybe I'm completely alone in this.
Okay, hang on, I'm just gonna... That's pretty much like the end of the video, but yeah, we'll end it off with her saying maybe I feel like I'm completely alone in this. And I would honestly love to know your thoughts and opinions on this whole discussion. And I'd love to know if you've ever felt this way as well. Have you ever felt like your tattoos have maybe held you back in a certain type of way, or made you feel like you can't dress a certain way or look a certain way because of them? Do you feel like people judge you because of your tattoos? I'm really interested to see your thoughts and opinions on this whole thing. Please sound off down below. But yeah, that is pretty much it for today's video. I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and until my next video, I hope you all stay safe and well. But until then, bye.